What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Truth, where today we're going to go over the rankings over the last final season or final week, covering this season, the last week. We're going to go over the rankings, how they have them, pre-bowl game, and my rankings. A little somber, but look at it this way. We got through a season. Let's go. Number one, they have Michigan, and I'm actually going to compare this with mine as is, and then kind of give my warnings because I'll give my warnings once I get to those teams, which y'all know, but if you're new to the channel, I'll explain it a little bit. Number one, they have Michigan. I also agree with this. I also have Michigan at number one. They're undefeated, and they played really well. I like it. Number two, they have Washington. I also like that. They're one of the only undefeated teams who I like at this point, and they've shown it. Beating Oregon back-to-back, I think, really does help. Number three, they have Texas. So getting into my clarification on how I do my rankings. I do my rankings based off of, do you deserve to be where you are, and how good are you actually? So me explaining do you deserve is, how many losses do you have? You know, if you're undefeated, I'm going to give you the nod over a one-loss team. Even though you're worse than this team, I don't think you'll beat them. I'm going to give you the nod over the rankings because this isn't a power rankings, this isn't a strength rankings. It's just an overall season rankings. That's why I have them at this. So with that being said, they have Texas at number three. I like Texas. I don't know if I would have them that high right now, but I like what Texas has done. I have Florida State. They're 13-0. I know they lost their quarterback, but I have 13-0. I have Florida State because they are 13-0 undefeated. Number four, they have Alabama. I actually like Alabama at 4. 3 or 4, I don't mind Alabama. They're a pretty good team. I like what they're doing. I have Liberty at 13-0 just because they're undefeated. Moving in to the top 5 selection, they have Florida State at 5. I have Alabama as my best one-loss team. Going in at number 6, we have the same teams. It's Georgia. Georgia's great. They just had that one loss. I think it bumps them down. Honestly, though, I think Georgia probably should deserve a college football spot, but they lucked out. At 7, I also agree with them. I have Ohio State. I like Ohio State. I don't think any team's going to beat Ohio State past this area. At 8, they have Oregon. I have Texas. Going into this, I think Texas is being overrated. Now, they could shut me up during the playoffs, but right now I think Texas is overrated with how they played, with the games they've played against like Wyoming and stuff like that, where they should have dominated. They haven't. That's been very disappointing. At 9, they have Missouri. At 9, I have James Madison because they are my last one-loss team. So I'm giving them the nod at that. At 10, they have Penn State. I like Penn State. Don't think they're better than Ole Miss. I have Missouri at 10. I like what Missouri's doing. They have something to build off of for next year. Go recruit, go out, and go get your guys. At 11, I also agree with them. I think Ole Miss fits right in here. I like Ole Miss. I like what they've done this season. They've showed a lot of promise. They're not there yet. That defense has to get better. The offense has a little bit of polishing to do with it. That defense has a lot to get better, though. At 12, they have Oklahoma. I have Oregon. They have Oregon higher in the rankings, but based off of losses, I have Oregon at 12. I like Oregon. I like what they're doing. To me, they're just not there yet. You know, Bo Nix really carried this team. I think that's kind of getting overlooked. Like, don't get me wrong, Oregon's talented, but they're not as talented as Washington, Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, Missouri, Ole Miss. Bo Nix did carry them. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Bo Nix played out of his mind this season. At 13, there's a little bit of a hot take. I got Penn State over Oklahoma. The one reason I like Penn State over Oklahoma is, for me, it was that Oklahoma State loss. It was that Oklahoma State loss that kind of really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm kind of sitting here while I'm looking through these teams, and it's just like, I like Penn State. They lost to Michigan. Kind of not really a close game. I think it was like a 13-point game. But at the end of the day, Michigan ranked number 1, and I have to give Penn State their dues. At 15, they have Louisville. I have Oklahoma. Because they are a 2-loss team, because I don't think they're better than because of that Oklahoma State loss. I have them at 15. Great team. A lot of these other teams, there's probably one other team on this list that I haven't talked about who I think could beat a lot of these teams and has beat one of these teams. I like what Oklahoma's done. I like that win over Texas. They've done a lot of good things. It's just they're playing the SEC next year. I want to see them take a step up. I don't know if that's going to happen, but not trying to look into the future. They've had a really good season this year. At 13, they have LSU. At 16, they have Notre Dame. Excuse me. At 16, I have SMU. SMU's been really good, quietly good. I like Notre Dame. I just have them down later on this list because of those 3 losses. SMU's good. Strength wise, they are a top 25 team. They're just not high. I don't think they break top 20. But based off of record and the teams below them, I like SMU. They surprised me. I had Tulane that they were going to beat. They ended up they were going to lose to Tulane. They beat Tulane. Give them the nod. They deserve to be up here. At 17, they have Iowa. For me, at 17, I have Tulane. I like Tulane. They're starting to put together like two-loss seasons, and that's really good. That's really good momentum. I believe they do have a bowl game. If they win it, they'll go 12-2 or something like that, and that's good momentum for the future. So if you're Tulane, you want to keep on that path and just really, because the real big thing is you gotta break that 2-loss record to a 1-loss record. Because once you get in there, you're in the playoffs, and then things get interesting with recruiting. But you're heading. I feel like Tulane's heading in the right direction, just like SMU. Tulane's heading in the right direction. It's great season by SMU. At 18, they have NC State. I like NC State. I just have them low. Do I have them on this list? I don't think I actually have them on this. I think NC State just slipped out of this list for me. And it's mainly just because I don't think they beat any of other of these teams. But at 18, I have Miami, Ohio. They did go 11-2. I want to give them that nod. At 19, they have Oregon State. I mean, it's just, for me, it's those 4 losses. I don't want to put a 4-loss team when they don't really deserve it, in my opinion. Give me Toledo based off of how I do my rankings. At 19, I have Toledo. They did lose to Miami, Ohio, and that's why I have them at 19, but I don't think they'll lose to number 20, and that's why I have them ranked 19. Toledo's kind of this team they don't play in a hard conference, but they do have a lot of wins, and they took care of business most of the time. So I'm going to give them Toledo at 19. At 20, they have Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, same reason I don't have Oregon State on my rankings. Strength-wise and how good they are, I don't mind Oklahoma State at 20. But based off of wins and losses, I don't like it. I have Troy at number 20 for me. Troy's kind of that team that's it's same thing with James Madison. It's kind of like you're the last team who's 2 losses. So you're going to kind of get where you did. It's kind of a good job, but you're not there. Can you build up and get there eventually one year? Probably, but you're not there yet. At 21, they have Tennessee. Same reason as I go in and out, 4 losses. Love Tennessee. I think they're better than some people think. Just because they have 4 losses, I don't think they're as bad as people think. Got to remember, they play in the SEC. At 21, I have LSU. They're my first team to break the 3-loss area. LSU is one of those teams who's like, in my rankings, they could probably beat a lot of these teams ahead of them. But the thing is, they have those 3 losses. I know they play in the SEC, but taking that into consideration, they're my highest ranked 3-loss team. I just don't think they deserve to be ranked any higher because they do have 3 losses. At 22, for them, they have Clemson. I like what Clemson did this year. I think they're definitely better than the teams behind them. My thing with Clemson is, like I said before, they have those 4 losses. They start out slow for me. Clemson was a team who started out slow for me, who, if they started out as they finished, I feel like they would probably been a 2-loss, maybe 3-loss team. And that's what's kind of like, dang, it's like, dang, they had potential. They had potential, and they just didn't really achieve it this year. So for 22 for me, I have Notre Dame. Notre Dame's kind of that one. Notre Dame's that team that's good, but they're not good enough to beat LSU. Let's be honest, they're not. But I do think they're good enough to beat every team behind them because of that defense and because of what Notre Dame can do in the run game, and then how they can take care of the ball in the passing game. At 23, they have Liberty. I have Liberty, of course, a lot higher because I respect them. Do I agree with this? I think there are some teams Liberty could probably pull off an upset. Rare, but an upset. Iowa, I think, is one of those teams. Iowa doesn't play a really good offense, but their defense is really good. What was I saying? Liberty, yeah. Liberty, they're a good team. They deserve to be in the college football playoffs, but they are not the best 4 team. They're not in the best 4 team conversation, and that's why they're not in it. But record, they deserve it. For 23 for me is Iowa. I gave a brief description of it. My main thing with Iowa is they have no offense, but they have a really good defense. They're the opposite of LSU. And look, I'll be honest, if you don't have that offense, especially in college football, you're not going to make it. There are some games that are just like, that's a very low scoring game. Kind of got lucky. You have a good defense. I want to see the offense expand in the future. 24, they have SMU. Of course, I had SMU higher. 24, I have Louisville. I like what Louisville is doing. I think they have a future. But like with a lot of these teams who are 2 and 3 losses, they have to build. They have to build and build. And they have to really build a strong culture to where they become a one-loss team. Because a lot of these 1-loss teams and these undefeated teams have strong cultures that help have a backbone for a team. A lot of these 2 and 3-loss teams don't have that yet. But they're building it, and you got to see that. 25, they have Kansas State. 25, I have Arizona. I like Arizona. I don't think they're better than Louisville. I think Louisville plays more discipline. Plus, they have an extra win. That's kind of why I put Louisville over Arizona. But I could see the arguments being made. Let me know if you have any other opinions. If you dislike things, shoot me back. I know this is more of a slightly somber attitude. I'm sorry. It's just sad to see college football go. And it's also very late. But yeah, let me know, what do you like, what do you dislike with my rankings, with college football rankings, or maybe with another rankings that you have that you want me to talk about. Let me know. I will see y'all next time.